Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace.
Welcome to The Natural Cook. I'm Anna Gershenson. Today we are greeted by a cold fall day, and of course we want to start switching the kind of food that we're putting into our bodies. We want to feel warm, we want to feel comforted, and so today we are going to cook something in the oven and also make fall pesto. So the dish that I will prepare for you today is cod that is baked with tomatoes and green olives and sprinkled with some breadcrumbs that are tossed with olive oil and garlic. And the second dish is fall pesto, where you're going to use arugula, which is more suitable for the cold season than basil that we used to use in the summer. And it's going to be spiced and also using toasted pumpkin seeds, pepitas. So I will right away throw pepitas onto the skillet because we cannot use hot pepitas, so we need to toast them. And I like doing it on the skillet. I preheat the skillet, and then there are 2/3 cups of pumpkin seeds that I put on the skillet. And then, as I always tell you, you need to open up your senses in the kitchen. You need to hear what's happening, smell what's happening, and watch what's happening. So what I'm watching for is for them to start popping. They will start smelling toasted, and make sure that you are shaking the pan, that you are tossing the seeds so that they do not burn. And then I will have this plate. I will transfer them so that they keep cooling and not continue cooking on a hot skillet. So as you know, I love cookbooks, and I have very many of them at home, but I always watch for the new ones. And the 2 new cookbooks that I was inspired by were one by Nadine Levy-Redzepi. She is the wife of this prominent cook who had restaurant Noma that used to be #1 restaurant in the world. And she has written a wonderful cookbook that is about, it's about home cooking. And so this simple cod dish, she's prefacing it by saying that she needed to pick up her kids, and she stopped for coffee, and she ran into a friend. And then by the time she got home, she only had 30 minutes to cook. And so this dish is really fits the bill when you want to make something really fast. So you use either cod or haddock, one of these, and I can smell my pumpkin seeds. So I'll be doing both tasks at the same time. So what I do, fish like cod, I like pre-salting fish. Like meat usually sits overnight if it's like a slab of meat or chicken, salted, so that salt gets penetrated and enhances the flavors. With fish, you need to do it only 15 minutes in advance, unless it's something like swordfish or tuna that can take half an hour. So I pre-salted this fish lightly because there will be also salty olives. And so now I will put 2 tablespoons of olive oil onto the bottom of my baking dish, and I swirl it around. And then I'll add a little more. So 2 tablespoons will go on the bottom, and 2 tablespoons will go on top of the fish. And of course, you want to use nice olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. Then we will place our fish right here. All right. So, and this little one will go here. Okay. And then you want to take plum tomatoes, and I'll share with you a secret that I didn't have plum tomatoes at home when I first tried this recipe. And in a pinch, you can use your favorite pasta sauce or canned tomatoes, and it will be delicious as well. But today, I'm following the recipe strictly. So you are going to cut it, and then cut it in a way, as Nadine suggests, that this part where the root is, that you leave intact, and then you make this like triangular cut. Okay. All right. They are not popping yet. Okay. All right. So then you do it with the rest of them, and then what you will do is you will just squeeze the seeds. You will squeeze the seeds over the fish. And then you will place the tomatoes next to the fish. And then the olives will be pitted, and they will be chopped, and they will go on top of the tomatoes. And the topping will be crispy, nice crispy bread. It will crisp up. Okay. It will crisp up as it cooks. Of course, it's not crispy now. All right. So let's place them here. This probably could have taken a bigger dish. As you can see, that these tomatoes are going to be squeezed a little bit. Okay. Make sure to get all the juices onto them. All right. My oven is preheated, by the way, to 350 degrees. And once I'm done with it, it shouldn't take more than about 15 minutes for this to be ready. So also, just to be sure, you can poke your fish with a fork or with a knife and see whether it's flaky, whether the fish is raw inside, especially in the thickest part of the fish. Also make sure that your pieces are uniformly thick. For example, if you buy a piece of fish that has a little tail, I suggest either like turning it inside or just cutting it off. All right, so now we are going to take, okay. All right. Somehow, this stove top is not as dependable as it usually is. All right. So now, with this, we are going to just take 10 olives, and we are going to crush them to release the seed. And then we will just chop them after you got rid of the seeds and place them on top of your tomatoes. And also put remaining olive oil on top of your fish. So this is what we are going to do. All right. Okay, see how easy it is to remove your pit once you crushed it? And the same way you crush garlic when you want to, for the peel to slide off easily, you do the same thing. So these are Castelverano olives. They are very delicious, but again, if you cannot find them or you don't have them available for some reason, you can use other green olives. I tried with different olives, and they were also, they made the dish very delicious. Okay. All right. Some are a little harder than others. All right. So chop, chop, chop. And then they will go on top. Okay, so again, the recipe calls for fresh oregano for 5 sprigs. And what I do is I used dried oregano here, simply because I didn't want to run to the store and get them again, but it will flavor the fish just fine. Okay, so let's put all our olives around. So when I was seasoning the fish, you have to remember that you don't want to put too much salt because the olives are very salty, and once they start cooking, that salt will be actually flavoring the fish as well. So we'll drizzle some more of the olive oil, a couple of tablespoons, and now we need 2 garlic cloves that we are going to chop in the food processor together with breadcrumbs. So 2 slices of bread. You can use ciabatta bread, or you can use whatever nice bread you have, like a baguette. Here I took some baguettes. You cut it into smaller pieces, and then you throw it into your food processor to make crumbs. Okay, so now we have our garlic. So to chop garlic in the food processor is very easy. All you have to do is to start running the food processor and then drop the garlic through the feed tube, and it gets chopped very, very quickly. So here we don't have, that would have been possible here, but I will just place it there in the little mini cube. Okay, all right. I'll chop my breadcrumbs here. If you are doing it all in the same food processor, you want to process your crumbs first, and then you want to combine them together with your garlic and with some olive oil, additional tablespoon of olive oil. Okay. Okay, so now we will put them all together with olive oil and then sprinkle them on top of the fish. Okay, all right. This is a more efficient food process for the crumbs than the big one. The big one didn't really do the job. Okay, all right. Okay, great. So now we are going to sprinkle it all over the fish. And you see how lovely it looks? And so the crumbs will crisp up, and the garlic will also flavor the fish, and it will be delicious. It already looks absolutely yummy. Do you agree? Okay. All right. So now we're sticking it into the oven. And after 15 minutes, you can check. And if our fish isn't ready, then we will stop and wait until it's ready. Okay, so now let's put this away. Okay, we don't need any extra dishes that we are not going to use. Oh, pulling it out. Oregano. Oregano adds to our dish, so absolutely we're sprinkling it with oregano. Okay, now we are moving on to our pesto. And I already prepared this pesto at the farmer's market. I had a farmer's market demo yesterday, and it was very well received. So I'm very excited to share this recipe with you that I found in the book of Natalie Merchant. Also a very exciting book. I've actually never made pesto using arugula myself before, and I was very surprised by how delicious it turned out. So our pumpkin seeds, for some reason, they toasted, maybe not as much as I would have liked them to, because something happened here to my stovetop. So what goes is 2/3 cups pumpkin seeds. Okay. So make sure that when you toast your pumpkin seeds, that they start browning, they have this toasty smell, and they start popping on the skillet. And that's the time when you need to take them off. A good time to take them off and put them on a plate so that they wouldn't continue cooking. All right, so then we have also arugula. We use 3 cups of arugula. So you can either put all of these things together, but I like processing the pumpkin seeds first. So once they are crushed, then we are going to add our arugula, 3 cups. Okay. All right. And then we are going to have 2 or 3 garlic cloves, depending on how garlicky you like it. And also, you need to remember that garlic, now we have fresh garlic, and it has very nice fresh flavor. As garlic ages, the flavor starts getting stronger, and you can tell if the garlic is aged or not by looking at this, whether there is a sprout inside. And the sprout turns green. So right now, you can see that this sprout is inside, but it's white. So it's the same color as the garlic. And as it turns green, I like taking it out because the sprout is bitter. So what we'll do also, I'll take this back. So you see how easy it is to release the garlic peel once you just tap on it. And don't be afraid. If you crush it too much, it doesn't matter because you are going to anyway make it, crushed in your food processor. Okay. All right. So I will take this back, and I'll process my garlic here. The better strategy would be, if you want garlic crushed together, you could just start with it, but actually it will get crushed anyway. But I would rather crush it here, just to make sure that we are going to get, nice. You won't have any pieces or that are not going to blend. But you don't have to do it. You can just place the garlic first and run it, and then add the rest of the ingredients, and it will be perfectly fine. Okay. All right. Then we have pumpkin puree, which is also a very, very fall ingredients. You can, if you don't have your own pumpkin puree, which you probably don't, just buy canned pumpkin and 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree, and then we'll taste it, because if we feel that something is missing, then we'll be adding more of it. So now you will have about 1/8 teaspoon of grated nutmeg. And as you can see, I'm not really measuring. Okay, that seems enough. And then we will have 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That's about half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. Okay. And then we also use crushed red pepper flakes, about 1/4 teaspoon. If you don't want it to be too spicy, then you can adjust how much pepper you're adding. But this is supposed to be spiced pestos. Okay. So now time to process it all. So once you process these ingredients that are dry, only then you will be adding olive oil, a little at a time. Okay, make sure to scrape the side of the bowl so that everything gets mixed. Okay. All right. Great. So now, with the machine running, we are going to start adding olive oil. And start with 1/4 cup. And then if you feel, you taste it, if you feel that it needs more, then you can add more. But another ingredient that I like using in this pesto is lemon juice. So I'll add about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Okay. And then we'll taste and adjust. Okay. So little by little, we're adding 1/4 cup of olive oil. Okay, I think I added already a little more than that. I feel that I need to scrape it because otherwise it's not really processing well. Okay, I'll add a little more. And the last ingredient that you want to add is grated Parmesan. And Parmesan, of course, is very delicious and will round up the flavors. And you want 1/2 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese. So, of course, there are many substitutes to Parmesan, meaning, like, for example, Grana Padano is a less expensive cheese, but it is a little less flavorful. But go ahead and get Grana Padano if you feel that you don't want to spend, the money, or you don't have the money to spend on this cheese. Also, I always look for sales, and when I have, I add them. So I think that we'll have to take a little break after we make this pesto because our fish will take a little longer than I expected. And we don't want to stop the show without showing you how it looks and also tasting and letting you know how delicious it is. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's taste. It tastes very good, but needs a little bit salt for all the flavors to come through. It's really nice. The spiciness comes through at the end. You can add, if you want it a little thinner, you can drizzle a couple of tablespoons of water. But I think that I like it this way. It has really very nice balance of flavor, and the garlic comes through very, very nicely. I hope that you will try this wonderful pesto at home. You can either serve it, on crackers or bruschetta, or you can toss it into pasta. If you toss it into pasta, you definitely want to dilute it with water. And what you can do is, you always save pasta water when you cook your pasta because it's starchy and it really does a great job combining with whatever you throw into pasta and making it nice and creamy. And so you would want probably take some pesto and add your pasta water, maybe a couple of tablespoons, and just mix them together before you toss your pasta with this delicious pesto. Okay, so we'll take a little break now, and when the fish is ready, we will show you what it looks like, and we'll share how we feel it tastes. So let's check how our fish is doing. Okay. It looks like it's ready. But to be safe, you can either poke inside, like I said, just flake it and see if it's cooked through, or you can use your thermometer and you insert it into the fish, and it's supposed to show 140 degrees. If you pulled it out and it shows like mine has now, if it shows 137 degrees, you can already pull it, because everything that comes from the oven or from a hot environment continues cooking. So even if it's 137 degrees, it will get to 140 degrees. Like when I'm roasting my chicken, for example, it's safe to have it at 165, safe to eat. So I would sometimes pull it even at 160 and allow it to get to that temperature, not to overcook it and to have it juicy. So let's taste. Like I told you, we'll take the fish is very beautiful, and we'll put some of the sauce. So it will be nice to have like a piece of bread to dip your sauce into your sauce. And let's see. It is juicy. It's cooked through. It is also not over flavored, but the flavor is so delicate and very, very pleasant. So I strongly recommend that you put it into your repertoire. And if you want the recipe, you can either go to Nadine's book, or I can post it on my Facebook. You can always check with me and ask me to post it on Facebook. And now the pesto, which you can already, of course, you can make crostini out of it, and it will be crunchy and delicious. It's really good. And by the way, you can put the pesto on top of your fish as well. So thank you for joining us. I hope you will tune in again to The Natural Cook with Anna Gershenson.
Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace.